Hello everyone, my name is Raul Faife. Today I'm going to be doing the introduction to virtual reality on Unity. So, a few things I wanted to mention prior to us beginning is, of course, virtual reality in general. So, the way virtual reality tends to work is it would do a copy replica of your main 2D screen, for example, where your game is. It makes two copies on each side, and then using the lens, you see it as one, and that's how the depth is created on a virtual reality machine. And so there's different factors you have to take into account when you're making your virtual reality game. This could, of course, be the code, the game engine, motion sickness, the headset you're going to be using. So there's a lot of different factors, and we'll go through them a little bit throughout this tutorial. So for the first one is your headset. There's two different things that can impact the development. So this could be the 3 degrees of freedom or 6 degrees of freedom on your headset itself, where that means that if it's 3 degrees, you could tilt your head back and forth, move it forward and back, and then you could also move side to side. While 6 degrees is those same three, and it lets you go forward, backwards, and side to side. And so that gives you the difference of 3 degrees to 6 degrees. Most new headsets nowadays are 6 degrees. And so the second component to take into account for your VR headset itself is the standalone, or like, is it connected to a PC? So the Oculus Quest is one of the most popular standalone consoles, and currently at this time the only one. But you can also plug it into your PC and do development changes to it as well through that, with other ones like the Vive or the HTC Vive or the Valve Index. So the next part that we have to take into consideration, other than the VR headset, is the game engine. So a game engine is a development platform that can handle all aspects of the game, so like the physics and the graphics. So many different game engines exist, like Unity, Unreal, or Godot. So for this tutorial, we're going to stick to Unity. The main reason is it's flexible. It has a huge community, a lot of documentation, and is on the same path every time there's a new release for like virtual reality. So it's always up to date. So the third part that's most important is the SDK. So the SDK will end up being the VR asset. So it's the package that allows you to have VR compatibility in your game engine. So two popular ones currently that many people know is Steam VR or Oculus integration. The problem with them is they are dependent on the headset. So if you use Steam VR, it's going to be specifically like Open VR, but no Quest. And if you use the Oculus integration, it's only going to work on the Quest and nothing else. So today, what we're going to be doing is we're going to make a one for all like tutorial where it's going to work with all headsets, because Unity recently has come out with its own VR plugin management tool. So it lets you have all VR headsets in one device. So we're going to be doing that on Unity today. And when doing this tutorial, I want to make sure you guys have 2019.3. The reason for this is currently at this time, when you use any version past that, for example, like 2020, is depreciated, where you're unable to actually you're unable to use OpenVR as one of the devices on that plugin. So this one lets you have OpenVR, which includes like Valve Index and HTC Vive, and then it also lets you use Oculus, and it all works together in the same plugin. And so it involves a lot less coding, and no need to make a different one for each headset that's happening. So what we're going to now do here is we are going to open up our Unity project. Okay. We're going to make sure it is in 2019.3. Okay. And we're going to make a simple 3D game. Now here you can pick any project name that you want to name it. I'm going to be naming it Tutorial VR. If I could spell a little bit better. Okay, and just give it a second to open up. So in the meantime, while it's opening up, I want to mention that this is using, of course, the XR plugin. So we're going to be setting all of that up right now together, just to make sure before we can actually go into the introduction of how to be able to start working on your own VR project. Okay, so let's give it some time. Okay, load it up. Let me move it onto the screen here. Perfect. So in case your Unity looks slightly different than this one, you could definitely copy my layout by going to Layout, Tall, and then you would move the game to the bottom side of the screen. So this is how you end up having the same layout as me on Unity. And now we could continue here. So what we're going to be doing is we have our new scene over here. It is inside the scenes folder, and very quickly, since we have time, I'm going to explain the different components here of Unity. So if you can see my mouse where it's located, we have here the scene at the top left, where this lets you move around the actual like location of your game engine to see all like the physical assets and everything put together. Like this is how you could maneuver through your entire game. While down here in the game section, this is what the player sees through the game camera, through this object right over here, which is the main camera. And as you can see, inside the scene, I can actually change like the movement details, move it up and down. I can change rotation and all this different type of information using these tools at the top. On the right side, we have the hierarchy. The hierarchy shows you all of the different assets that are inside of your game. You have directional line and main camera. At the bottom, you have project. Inside your project, you have your different types of folders. So the main one is assets, where everything is kept, and you have scenes. Right now, we have our sample scene because this is one we just started. Inside the hierarchy, if you click on any of your assets, it will show you the inspector, and the inspector will then show you the transform, the camera, the audio, this like different type of information on each one because all of them are different. Okay, so what we're going to be doing here is we're going to be setting up now the plugin in order to make it work. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to go to Window, okay, and we're going to go down to Package Manager. So once we're in Package Manager, you should see very few packages here. And the reason for that, I'll actually show you here, reset packages to default. Actually, in project. Okay. So currently, when you start it out, it's going to look like this. It's going to say in project. What we're looking for specifically is the XR plugin manager toolkit. So this one you could find if you go to all packages and make sure that in advance you show preview packages. So I still can't even see it here, for example, until I do that. So I got to go to advanced, show preview packages. Okay. And now you're going to see it gave me a lot more options. So down here, we want the XR interaction toolkit. I'm going to install this toolkit, and it's going to take some time and it may restart your Unity as well. So just give that a second to load. So chat, any questions? How's your day going? The weather's very nice. Very chilly in the background. I got a fan. Okay, so right over here, you're going to click yes, and you're going to confirm to restart your Unity client. So it's going to restart. Make sure to save. You don't want to lose your scene in case you made any edits. Nick and Mohammed having a good conversation about the weather in the chat. That's very nice to see. Okay, so Unity's reloading itself. Give it a second there. Yeah, perfect. So now it loaded, and you can see we have the XR interaction tool saved. So if I scroll down, I can confirm that by going to it, and you can see it's up to date. So right after that, what we're going to do is we are now going to pick the actual devices we want to be able to work with. So we're going to do this by going to File, okay, or actually Edit, Project Settings. Inside Project Settings here, you're going to see XR Plugin Management. Now, if we were doing, for example, the brand new version updated, you'd go into XR Plugin Management and you would add them through there. However, because we're using an older version before it was the OpenVR is depreciated, we're going to go to Player, okay? And inside Player, we're going to have XR settings. Now, for those that don't know, XR, the reason it says that is because XR is the collection of AR and VR. It's extended reality. And so you can keep that in mind for the future where these same exact tools used for VR, you can use for AR as well. So we're going to allow virtual reality support. It'll take some time to load over here as well. There's a lot of loading in the setup, but once you get to it, you have full access and freedom to do whatever you want in Unity. Okay, and for me, it already has Oculus and OpenVR because I've done this prior, but if not, you can click on the plus and make sure to pick them. And if you want to make a standalone Oculus game, make sure you have Android selected over here. And you also select virtual reality supported and pick Oculus. Now it's going to load up. Now, if you don't see the Android button, okay, make sure that when you're installing your 2019.3, you install using Android support. That's very important to keep in mind. in case you want to be able to actually put it onto your Android device, because standalone headsets at this moment are using Android. So we have our Oculus, everything set up there, and now we can close it. And that should be the end of our setup, which is actually great because now we can actually start working on the project. So what we're going to do over here is we need to organize our map a little bit. So on the hierarchy, I'm going to be creating a new 3D object, and we're going to make ourselves a plane. Okay, this is our plane over here, and it's kind of ugly. It's just white. So if we go to the assets folder, we can actually add our own material. So I'm going to create material. In case you didn't notice, I actually just right clicked. So I'll show you again. You just right click and you could create whatever you want inside this folder. So you create a material here, and I'm going to do blue. Okay, and so from here you can actually pick the color, and I'm going to pick just a bright blue to show you, and you could make your plane look like that color, and you can see where the camera's located, for example, so you see where the plane is. So I'm going to make sure to save, because at any moment we could have issues with our copy here of our scene, and we don't want to lose all of our progress so far. So we now have that set up our planes. And if you want to have a nicer look of planes, what we're actually going to do is we're going to go to Window, and you're going to see have Asset Store. And there's a lot of free assets you can actually download from other users that share what they've made. So I'm going to show you a little bit here. And there's one I really like called Gridbox prototype material. And this one is a very nice asset in order to be able to customize your test worlds and test scenes. So I'm going to click import. Okay. And I should get a pop-up soon. Packages. Okay, it should be in here. It is not. Oh, wait. Supported versions. Okay. Preparing. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. Everything was popping up on the other screen. So this is what it's going to look like here. Okay. And you can select which ones you want or not, but I recommend just getting all of it because this is a small game, so we're not using that much memory. And it's better to just download everything at once and then be able to have our choices and use them and see them in prototype at that moment. So now it should be in here. Under third party, you got Gridbox prototypes, resources, materials, and then you go to prototype, and you can see all the different prototypes. There's also here the skyboxes. So I can pick this skybox to have like a pink, okay? And then when I pick the actual grid, I can pick like a blue prototype floor right over here. So you can see we've already customized a pretty good environment for ourselves, okay? So now let's set up our VR rig. So the way we're going to set up our VR rig, and this is after I make sure to put the plane at the exact 0, and you can do this by clicking 3 dots in the reset. Okay. Right over here's the plane. I'm going to move the camera as well to the reset position. Okay, perfect. So we're going to start making our VR rig. So we're going to right click and create an empty object, and we're going to call it VR rig. Okay. And so inside this VR rig, I want to make sure to reset everything so it's at the exact center. We're going to add a component. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to add a new component, and it's called XR rig. Okay. So using the package that we had got earlier, the toolkit for extended reality, it already has a bunch of scripts for us to use, and they're very simple, and there's a lot of documentation on Unity documents. So I really recommend checking them out. So as you can see here, we have our VR rig, which is the actual object that has the component. And then we have the camera floor offset and the camera game object. So now we have to make those. So inside the VR rig, we're going to click create VR rig, create empty. And this empty one, we're going to call our camera offset, okay? And then inside the camera offset, we're going to make a new camera, okay? And then this camera, we could call VR camera, perfect. And we could delete the old camera that we have. So now inside VR rig, we just drag in camera offset, drag in camera, perfect. And now it should automatically work. So I'm going to take out the VR headset here. Make sure it works. Okay. It's loading up. Give it a second. Okay, perfect. Oh, I'm going to set up my Guardian real quick. Give me 1 second. Create Guardian. Floor. Confirm. Stationary. Confirm. Okay, perfect. So it's connected and set up. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click play. Okay. And you guys should see that the way I rotate my headset, and you can see here as well, is what I see. Now you can notice that our camera is clipping because our camera currently is right inside the floor. So we want to be able to bring it up, of course, because if not, to make it look more normal. Well, how do we do that? Well, the way we could do that is either move the camera up, or we can make it that the camera knows its tracking origin based on the floor. So based on where you're located to the floor, it already knows how high to put the camera, which is a great feature that it already has inside the script. So if I were to save it and we test it again now, you're going to notice it already is off the floor. So I'll show you right over here. And it's already higher than before, and it's working out fine. Notice I was moving my head when I could just move the VR headset around. Okay, perfect. So we're going to continue on. And we're going to start working on our hands, okay? So the hands is one of my favorite parts, honestly. So for the hands, I'm going to decrease here so we don't have to see it so much. And just in case, to show you guys here, you have hands, okay. Now we have to just, we're going to add brand new hands here, and they go in the same area as your VR camera. So we're going to right click camera offset, and we're going to create empty. We're going to create another empty. Okay, and this one we can name left hand, we can name right hand. Okay, and then both of these, we're going to add the component. Okay, and give me 1 second here. Need to get here the exact name. Okay, XR controller. Now, the reason I need to know the exact name, sometimes one forgets, is you have two different XR controllers. You have action-based and device-based. We're going to pick device-based. So device-based is going to give us all of our features that we need towards our hands. And so right now we're going to pick our left hand, and the controller node, we're going to change it to left hand. And then how do you change your right hand? Well, you change your right hand. I mean, it's already changed for you. So it's perfectly fine now, and we have our hand set up. And if I were to start it up, and then I pick one of the hands, like right hand, okay. And I'm going to show you here. Okay, so I have one controller here moving around, and you can see that it's moving, but it's invisible. There's nothing in front of me, okay, because we haven't set a actual model to like show or like represent that area. So we know that the mask is being done on top of our empty object. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make our own hand model. And we're going to make a simple one since this is an introduction. We're going to go right over here. And I'm going to quickly close this so I don't mess anything up. I'm going to create a 3D object cube, okay? And if you look at a selected object, click F, it zooms in for you. Okay, so now I can focus a little bit better. So I have my cube. I'm going to reset the transform, and I'm going to create an empty object. This object I'm going to name controller. I'm going to put the cube inside the controller, okay? And then the controller itself, I'm going to reset. And then I'm going to scale down. I'm going to scale down my arm, okay? So I'm going to do 0.2, 0.2, 0.4, still pretty small, so we'll try doing 0.1. Okay, and then reset here so we can see it. And I accidentally undid what I was trying to accomplish, so we'll do that one more time. 0.4. Okay, so we got a pretty decent arm here. Now, why did we do the arm, okay, prior, like with the controller and cube? If when we go, for example, to the left hand or right hand, you can see it's asking for a prefab. Well, we're gonna make a prefab. The question is, what is a prefab? Well, a prefab is a game object that is saved on all projects. So we're going to be able to use like a model prefab of this, our controller, by saving it into our assets. So we're going to go assets here. Okay. We want to stay organized. And we're going to drag controller onto here. Now you can tell you did it correctly when the controller turns blue. So when it's blue over here, it means it's a prefab. Now we could delete it and it saves our work at the bottom in assets. Okay, and this advice also works in any experience of Unity, like when you do 3D or 2D prefabs. Okay, they're great. So you're gonna go in both these and you're gonna pick controller to go as the model prefab. Okay. So now if I were to test it out, over here, you'll see there's two arms on the screen there. Okay, I'll put them down in front of my desk. Okay, and then look down. Okay, you guys should see them now. Both arms are right there in front of me. Okay, I can move them. Here's one. There's the other. And I got two arms. And honestly, this stuff is pretty cool. So I'm going to continue on. And we're going to do some changes. You could see that we had clipping. So that meant you could see the inside of your arms. We could change that simply by just going to the VR camera and changing the near distance, the clipping area, to be 0.1. And so now you won't have that issue of your arms. Like if your face is inside of it, you can't see through it. Okay, so I'll show you that in a bit when we continue. But what's really cool is we could now just work on our map. We have working arms. Okay, so let's try developing something a little bit more interesting. So around our character, which is at the center point here, let's make here a brand new, let's make a table. Okay, so if I click R on my keyboard, I could actually change the scaling view, or you can just do it here for scale. Okay, and I want to scale it up this way. Okay, and then I'm going to add I'm going to make it a little bit closer to myself, because these things are actually a lot farther when you're looking through the camera. And we're not going to be working on the controller yet, so I don't want to run into my wall or my desk and stuff. So I'm going to make it like hand distance where I could grab things. So right here I have it, and now I want to add a sphere. I want to have a ball, so I'm going to add a sphere right over here. Perfect. Okay, let's make it a lot smaller. We'll make it about like 0.25. Okay, we got a good ball. Okay, and we'll make a color for it where we have this blue, right? So I could just pick the blue, or we could just pick the grid, the grids that we have. So I'm gonna pick purple here. We'll change the table to orange, and just have a very nice color choices. So make sure to use your movement to your advantage here. Okay, perfect. Now, what we want to do is we want to give physics to our ball. So what do I mean by physics? Well, adding a rigid body allows it to be affected by gravity, be affected by hitting objects. It doesn't go through things. So our ball, what we want to do is we want to add a component, and we're going to add it a rigid body. Okay, perfect. And so now our rigid body allows it that when it falls, I even click play here so you can see it's going to fall onto the table there. Okay. And I could do it even higher so it's more smooth. There. So we now have our rigid body, which is great. Let's make it grabbable. Let's make it that we could grab the ball and throw it, because our hands can't touch it yet. Our hands could really just throw it around, and I'll show you what I mean by this. So if I were to put on my headset, okay, I grab my hand. Okay, this is hard with the headset. Let me take off the headset. Okay, and you can see from the bottom screen down here. Okay, so let me show you what I see. and I was able to hit it off the table, but it wasn't really that smooth or anything like that. So we want to be able to fix that, okay? So the way we're going to fix that, I get my headset on, and I'm going to move the table to be in front of me instead. So let me just grab here, or actually, I'll just move the ball since the ball had to be a little closer. There. Okay. So we're going to make it that it's an object that can be grabbed. So XR and very generic grab interactable. It makes it an interactable thing that you could grab. And so what are the changes you can make here? Well, changes that you could actually do is that you have attach ease on time, which is, I'm trying to get it right over here. Okay, you have right over here your throw on detach, you have your throw smoothness, angular velocity, and so these are all when you're trying to throw it away, right? So those are different types of changes you could make to your interactable. And throw smoothing right over here, the curve, they do a big effect to like how far you could throw it. So you could definitely make these differences, including like attach ease and time, okay? Or attack ease and time is how quickly something teleports to your hand, like to the center. So you could change that too. But the defaults are pretty good in themselves. And we could do some more numbered manipulation in a bit. So I'm going to save my project so far from what I have. And I am going to then create now our grabbable, which like is on the sphere. And we're going to add it to the left and right hand where these could grab stuff. Because the hands still, they can't really grab things yet. So I'm going to make it, okay, give me a second. Direct interactor, okay, in the name. And now both of these have direct interactor and they should work perfectly fine. Now bear with me if it doesn't. I'm going to take off my headset, we'll try it again. Okay, and so using the grip, we're going to grab it. Okay, now I have a table in my way. So let's do that one more time. Okay, we're gonna go over here. And we're going to move it so that to take a little closer for myself because I can't grab it. Okay, and the second part was when doing it, I realized our left hand and right hand don't have colliders. So they can't actually touch the object yet. So we got to add a collider to it. So we're going to add some sphere colliders. Okay. And we're going to make them triggers for sure. And then we're going to make the sphere colliders about 0. We could do 0.4 because that's the size of our arms themselves. So that it's at least like when it's touching the arm, we grab it. Like that seems fair enough. So save it right over there. Okay, close everything. Things neat and dandy. And we'll try it out now. Just run it. Okay, and then let me just grab my controllers. Okay, and that's, oh, no, no. Okay, and so now we're gonna do that one more time by just unpausing and pausing, playing. Okay, perfect. Because I accidentally grabbed the grab button right over here, in case you guys see it. And so grabbing it, it teleports to your hand, and you can actually pass it from one hand to the other. And now you have a grabbable, and that was my printer. And now we have a grabbable object that's working perfectly fine. Perfect. Okay. Now let us continue. So, what can we do with being able to grab something and being able to throw something? Well, I'll have you know, one of my favorite games is bowling. So let's do some bowling. Let's make our own map and bowl together. So right over here, we're going to start developing our own bowling. And instead of just, making cylinders and setting up some just basic bowling, let's add some complexity. We'll go to the asset store. We'll look for something that we could find for bowling. So we could go to bowling and we'll go down to free assets. And as you can see, there is the cat going ball completely free here. So we're just going to import it. We're going to import it. We're going to get it in here and we're going to design on the spot our own bowling. Okay. Nick, yes, I want to go bowling. So let's grab some prefabs. We already explained what those are. We have the kegel, the ball, and the floor. So what does the floor look like? Okay, this is a very big floor. We don't really need this floor since we have our own plane. So we got that going, and we'll make our own plane. So we have here our cube where we could have all of our balls on it. So we're going to go over here and we could decrease this side. Okay. We'll have balls coming towards this direction. And so now we have our balls on that side, correct? Or actually, I'm going to move everything to the other side because I don't want to accidentally, hit my printer again. So we're just going to rotate it over here. Great idea. Okay. And let's make some duplicates of these duplicates. Or actually, we won't even do it yet because there's a bowling ball. So we have our ball here. We're going to bring it out. Very, very big ball. And let's make it a lot smaller. So we're going to decrease the size by going to scale and bring it down by a bit. Perfect. Okay. Now we have one bowling ball that we have to redo the process. So what was this process? Well, it was quite simple. It was add a rigid body, allow it to have gravity, and then the next part was add an XR grab interactable. Boom, automatically works now. So we now have our ball right over here. We could delete our sphere from before, okay? Or even before, you could see again, it's rigid body, grabbable, and then when you look at the ball, it has rigid body, and actually, one difference it has is a sphere collider, where that's actually very important as well. Let's make sure it has sphere collider for it, okay? And let's manipulate the sphere. So right over here, we're gonna. And if at any moment you need to see like the exact center of an object you're working with, you can click F, like I said before, and just zoom in with your scroll wheel. Okay, so I want to edit this and I want to make it 0, 0, 0, and then increase the radius. Perfect. Now I got my bowling ball. Now we're gonna have that bowling ball work perfectly fine here for ourselves. And now we have one, and I won't make any more yet until we know it works for sure. And we'll do that right after setting up our alleys. So I want to make this plane a lot bigger by scaling it up. So I want to scale it up more forwards. So let's make this 0.6. And then what I could do is I could grab this other tool, the rect tool, and I could stretch it out this way. Perfect. And now let's make another. Let's make a cube actually instead of a plane to add on top of it, because a cube has more depth. Okay, now we can use the rect tool in a bit. Okay, perfect. And then there. Okay, and now we can use the rect tool and bring it right over here. We're just gonna work on this bowling alley we have. Okay, bring it out. Boom. And I really hope I don't suck when testing this out. So wish me luck, guys. So we're gonna work there. We have our floor. We'll add a color to it, of course. So you guys could pick. Actually, you guys pick the color while I set up the pins. So you go to prefabs. Okay, I see Nick said red and Mohammed said orange. Red is fine. Okay. And our pin is ginormous, so let's make it a lot smaller. Okay, perfect. We'll bring it down. Okay, so it seems we're going to be doing red. Perfect. Got one pin, and I'll bring it closer to the ground so it doesn't lose balance. And I'll add a rigid body. Now, what I also want to do is add a collider. So we'll add a cylinder collider. So a capsule collider to be exact here, and we'll make some edits to it. So I want to increase the height by 4. Increase this by 2. Okay, so now we'll do 3 and 6. Perfect. And then we can expand the radius out to a 1. A 1's good enough. Perfect, we got 1 Kegel. Now, or Kegel, my bad. And I'm going to bring it all the way to the start because I want to test the bowling ball interacting with the Kegel. So now we have that set up. We have the bowling ball here, and let's see how it goes. Okay. Save. I'm going to take off my headset, move the mic. We'll test it out. And we did it. And it looks very cool what we made so far. You can see it running that way. I noticed my mic wasn't next to me, but it's actually, I was saying, it's very cool how we were able to make our world, and you just feel like you're there, like it's an actual thing. Virtual reality is so cool. Okay, so we're gonna continue on, and now we know the Kegel works, but I'm very bad because I barely even touched it. It was right in front of me. Now, what about the bowling ball? You notice how the bowling ball barely fell? Like, what's something you could do? Well, the ball itself, the rigid body for it doesn't have that much mass. It has to be more realistic. So we got to increase the mass to about 7, maybe to see how it is as a bowling ball, to be like more, give it more girth to the real thing. And then we'll move the kegels forward, and I'll start it out right now. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to make an empty object, so it's a lot easier to move them all. Okay, I'll name it pins. Okay, so I'll put the kegel right over there. Oh, before I do that, let me reset this. Pins, okay. I'm going to make a duplicate and move it forward. Move it here. Then we're just going to quickly finish up making our amazing bowling alley. And I don't remember if it's 9 pins. Is it 9 pins, everyone? I feel like I'm making more than I should. I'll stop here. Perfect. Stop at 9 pins. And all of them are inside the pins. So if I want to move them all, it's very simple. I just move like this. And so we'll make it harder each time for ourselves. So let's try it out with this many pins to see how it's going with the mass. And we'll test out some differentiations we might have. I'll put here on the side so you can see everything that's going on both ends. Okay. And we'll try it again. Okay. And we got it. We got it. We got a working bowling alley. and it's working out fine. This is an introduction to virtual reality, so we are going to avoid code. But if you already practice normal 3D Unity, like the only part of VR is the camera position, and everything else should work perfectly fine. It's the camera and the controllers that you have to worry about when you work with virtual reality. Everything is in essence the same, just like moving with 3D and 2D on Unity. So you could do the same exact thing where you could keep track of all the pins that are knocked down based on the rotation. You can make it that the pins, if they're knocked in the back, for example, falling into like a collider, there's different ways you can make it to keep track of points and then restart the game, and then you have a bowling game in essence. And it's a very simple one to start out. So we're going to expand on this, and we're going to try a different sport. So I was thinking trying to do baseball, but I just came up with the thought we could also do basketball, and just different types of things that we could try out here with grabbing. What are some ideas that you guys could think of in the chat? Okay. Okay, so Nick said basketball. Basketball? Okay, we're gonna try basketball. And I will inform you, it will be a very poor one. And if there's no assets, because I haven't checked for basketball, then we'll have to make it ourselves. So look at free assets. Okay. It seems like we are out of luck, and I shall have to create my own. So we got our bowling alley here on the side, right? This is our scene for the bowling alley. Now, what's something we can do? Well, we could save the scene, okay? And we could save the scene as a bowling alley scene, right? And now we created the bowling alley scene, but the thing is, if I go to scenes, I could go back and, oh wait, save the bowling alley. That means we finished bowling alley. And we're going to continue here, and we're going to make another one, save again, so save as, okay? And side scenes, and we will call this one, what's a good name we could call it? I mean, just realized we're doing basketball. Basketball it is. And so if you go inside assets, inside scenes, we'll see we have basketball, bowling alley, and samples. So bowling alley is covered. We saved it and backed it up. Now we have basketball open. Basketball, we'll just delete some of the things we already have, okay? But that way we get to keep everything in essence how it was before. So now let's make our own little basketball shoot and like try it out and such. So let's make next like a half court. So right over here, let me just organize a little bit for myself. Okay, perfect. We have headphones. In case anyone has any questions, you guys could talk at any moment there. And start picking the colors for different things that you need. So like the walls, the floor. I don't know if I'm making walls, but we'll see how we go. The hoop, and so on. So let's make ourselves a 3D object of a cube. Okay. Right here. And this is going to be for the floor of our basketball court. So I want to get this level on each side so it looks nice. Perfect. Now I'm going to make a back wall, okay? And make sure to submit what type of things you would like to see being made here. I'm going to rotate this copy, okay? And we're going to rotate it on X, 90 degrees. Position it. Mo, if you're here, Nick said you're choosing colors this time. So choose a color. Perfect. Now we have our walls. So the floor needs a color. The wall needs a color, and then we're making a hoop, so that needs a color. Okay. Now for the hoop itself, let's see what we can make here. We have terrain, ragdoll, text, quad, plane, cube, capsule. As I realized Okay. If we're gonna make a hoop, it's gonna end up being out of cubes. So as well here. Okay, I see your color choices. We'll do it like that then. So inside the hoop, we're gonna add a cube. We're gonna change it here. Okay, top view. That. And we'll make it easy on me, of course, so that I don't have to worry like by making it a lot bigger. Okay. Perfect. Duplicate. Rotate. Perfect. Okay, now let's follow the colors. So you said red. So third party, grid box, resources, materials, prototype. Okay, then we have the floor brown, and then the wall light brown. There is no light brown. What do you say as a replacement? These are currently the colors of our choices. A musty yellow, I suppose. Okay, so now we have this set up and we need a basketball. So just like before, we're gonna do another game object sphere, and this is just so we get the practice. Anyone want to recommend a color for this for the basketball itself? Should it be orange as well, or the reason we're repeating these is so we get used to using Unity and like the VR aspects of it. Dark orange. This is red supposedly. Pink. Okay, this is purple, but it works. um, scale it down. The knight came out of nowhere and just took it away from everyone. The opportunity here. Okay, perfect. And now we add the rigid body. And we add a XR grab interactable. Now we got our basketball. And we got a bunch of basketballs. Okay, you want to see me dunk? Very unlikely I could get to that hoop inside my house unless I bring it closer. So just for you, I'm gonna make a few basketballs first. Okay. Okay, they all got low mass. Let's see how far we could throw them. And if not, well, then we have to do some manipulation with the grab. And I'm excited to try out how it goes here. So we got our basketball set up. We could change the colors. So I'll change them to some different ones. We got green, we got blue, we got white, we got gray. Okay, perfect. And I'm gonna move them all closer to me in case so I don't break anything in my room because it's a pretty small room. And let's see how well it works. So we got this on, and both controllers, I'm gonna bring them here. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to expand so you can see. Okay, perfect. And let's see how this goes. That's very disappointing. So it seems we're gonna have to make some changes to the physics. So let's try that out. So let's make some changes to the physics. So we'll try it with every single different type of ball having a different speed. So we'll go down to interactable. We'll make a little bit more space here so we can see what's going on. Okay. And now we have our throw smoothing duration, our smoothing curve, and then our throw velocity scale. So this is the one we're going to try and manipulate. We have our original ball, 1.5, 3, 6, 12, and 24. We'll go up exponentially for that then. And we'll see which one might be the right number for us. So take out my headset. I need to stop putting on my headphones. Okay. So this is the original ball. Doesn't really go that far. So that's how far the blue ball goes. That one seems to go pretty far. I'm excited for the other two. I'm Superman. And then I'm not even gonna bother throwing it towards the hoop. My printer. Okay. Throw it the other way. So now we know the math. The second ball was good enough. This printer is it's getting beat up today. Okay, so let's make the changes accordingly. And all of them should be around, we did 1.5, around 2.2 would be a nice number to try out. Because when we did 3, it seemed like it just immediately hit the wall and just fell. So, and then we'll test out this, and then we'll try seeing different distances. I'll dunk for you, Nick, and we'll see how that goes. So try it out yourselves. I swear my mic was in my way. I'm not bad. Okay, I need a little bit more force. Okay. Okay, I'm hyped. We did it. We did it, guys. Okay, another one. I can do this. Oh, come on. Does that count? Okay, we'll try it. Last one. Okay, here and then. Woo! Okay, that felt great. And so this is how the Miami Heat recruited Raul Faife. Should I'll take a seat. That was a lot of exercise. Okay. Someone grab a shoe. I wonder what that one was for. Okay, and then I'll do some dunking for you. So move it over here. Oh, let's see if I actually even get that high. That's gonna be a nice one to try out. Oh God, my desk is in that direction. Okay, let's try it out. Oh, oh gosh. Okay, I don't want to hurt my desk. Let me move my chair. Just, does that count towards a dunk? I just don't want to break anything. Okay, we'll try one more. I tried dribbling, but we haven't really added that yet. Okay, that's not working. Okay, thank you for that slow-mo. Okay, we might take a break now. And we'll move on to the next one. Now we're gonna move to baseball. Okay, because this one actually does have a lesson for the grabbables. In case you didn't realize, every time we grab something, it goes into the center of your hand. So what if you want a different pivot point? So let's say if you were to make yourself a cylinder and you just grab the cylinder and that's your baseball bat. Well, it actually automatically becomes a how do you say? It goes to the center of that cylinder, and you don't want that when you play baseball. You want to grab the handle and have it look like a handle. So we're going to now make our own baseball field to try out throwing balls, and we'll test out how that works too. That little concept there. So right over there, and we're gonna save the scene as okay because we finished our basketball scene. It's pretty good. I'm pretty proud of my basketball scene. Not gonna lie, it's pretty nice. Right over here, perfect. Now we can save as, and we're gonna make baseball. And in a matter of an hour, actually, we've been able already to make a bowling ball, basketball, and set up virtual reality and learn some basic concepts of grabbing stuff. And we could already go on to another sport of baseball in less than 2 hours, which is really crazy to think about how far development has gone in VR and just in general video game development itself. So anyone could work on these projects. Just have the good idea and passion for it. So I am now in my baseball map. I'm going to delete these basic concepts. And boom, and delete. And back to the drawing board. So I want my baseball map to look a little bit more realistic. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to... I'm tired of the background being this pink. Let's go to the asset store and pick out some brand new stuff. So here in the asset store, I'm going to grab myself skyboxes. We'll look up if there's any skyboxes. Okay, and by skyboxes I mean free skyboxes because I'm not willing to pay for skybox. There's the fantasy skybox. There's this more cartoonish type of skybox, the freebie, the skybox series free, which I like a lot. We could be in space for all I cared. We got customizable skybox and so on. I like this one, all sky free. Very nice package. You have different types of lighting as well, daytime, dusk, nighttime. It's very nice. So I'm going to be grabbing this one. Okay, and from looking at this image, you guys can pick which night you want. Just make a concession right there, like which time you want. Do you want it to be the pink one, normal day, like clouds in the sky, very cloudy, red sky, nighttime? You guys pick right now in the chat. Say which one you want. We'll pick it for the game. Okay, so one person said night. Everyone else, what are your thoughts? You can say it there, and you guys can vote between yourselves. Most picked will win. So far, I see night. Might have to stick to night then. Baseball at night. Okay, and then we're gonna see if we can grab some grass. Okay, I want to have a grass field for my baseball game. And then baseballs. We want to try out baseballs ourselves. So let's wait for that a bit. And this is a big one because there's a lot of stuff it has to download. Okay. In the meantime, you guys liking this tutorial? If you do, leave a comment. Say it in the Zoom chat right now that we're live. If this is on a YouTube video, hi guys, I'm Raul. Nice to see you. Hope you're liking the tutorial because you were able to make so much in an hour. Yeah, if you have any questions, make sure to leave them right now in the chat. or any ideas of things like, oh, if you're just curious, like, oh, how would someone make this? Then I can definitely tell you a way that it could work from my personal experience, since, this was shared as an advanced Unity tutorial because I'm advanced. Yep. So I'm just playing. So we were able to get it. We have our new textures in all sky free. All sky. We have it in, it should be all sky demos. No. Sky free. Oh no, it's inside each one separately. So there was night. So which night do you want? Do you want to have this night? Do you want to have this night? There is dusk. Okay. And I'll wait for you guys to give a response for which one you'd like. Second one. Okay. Very clever. Reminds me a lot of just being in the ocean seas. Okay. It's very, very clear. Now, the floor. I want some grass. Let's make it some very realistic. Okay. Free assets. Because free is the best. Okay. Grass flowers pack, grass texture, simple stylized grass shader. We got stylized grass texture. We got a bunch of different types of grass. Now we're going to pick, oh, Dream Forest Trees, a nice one. Realistic nature. And you got to take into account every time you put down these textures, they will be just pulled out and stretched. I can show you what I mean here by if I click this one, for example, okay, and yeah, we have a lot of options, okay, but once we import it, you'll notice what I mean by they get stretched out, and so we'll have to put more planes to make it look nice, and we'll set that up right now. So import, okay, QS textures, materials, perfect. So if I were to put them straight on right here, you see they get stretched immediately. So we're gonna have to make a brand new plane, or at least not have it stretched out. So 111, and it's still kind of iffy. So we'll try picking one a lot better. This one's nicer, even though it's still kind of very big. So if you ever try going for grass, you want to try getting something very thin or hard to see. So this one's a lot better because it could be a lot smaller. Okay. Goodbye, Deny. Thanks for coming to today's tutorial. And so now we're going to put it 000, and we'll expand it by 222. Well, we can make it bigger. This would be 10, 10, 10. You cannot see how far it reaches. So very nice. And now we have our giant baseball field. Now let's set up the baseballs and the baseball bats. Now that's what I was excited for, because I actually like that there is a free baseball pack that you could get on Unity right here, baseball bats, and there's so many different options for baseball bats. So I'm very excited to be able to make it work with one and then repeat the same thing with multiple baseball bats, and then you can add different masses to each one as well. And there's a lot of customization when you're making your own game, that you could just make whatever you want, which makes it really, really intricate and cool. So I'm going to import. I don't remember when after downloading if I import stuff, which is why I do it twice, in case you guys notice I'm doing it twice. Okay, right over there. QS is done. Baseball bats, assets, and we got here models. We got materials, but we want prefabs. These are all the different bats that you could choose from. Okay, and to see what they look like, it's down here. You would increase it. See all the different types of bats. They're so cool. Okay, I'm not even a baseball fan, but they're very cool. So we're gonna try out by just picking one here. I'll pick all classic, black one, number one. Okay, and this is our baseball bat currently. Now, it is actually pretty small, so we want to enlarge it just a little bit. This baseball bat. Okay, perfect. And now it's a much bigger size. Maybe you can make changes to it afterwards. But yeah, now we have our baseball bat. We have every single aspect to it. And you can see the different types of meshes that are involved inside this baseball bat, like the inside, outside, so on. to make the detail that it has. So you can have this one, it's a lot smaller, this one a lot thicker, and each one's different. So that it's just depending on preference. But I'm not even gonna touch it. We'll just see which one appears first. Okay. What I will do is I will create a give me a second. I will create here. Okay, so the way it worked is we have to make our main object, which is the part getting grabbed. So it's going to be in the handle. Okay, we want the handle part to be grabbed. So I'm going to create a 3D object of cube. Okay, this is temporary. We're going to make the cube a lot smaller. The cube is going to be what we're going to be grabbing. Okay. So right over here, we're going to try getting it in the position here of our entire, and you can do this with a cylinder too. I was just not thinking of a cylinder at the time, but it would actually work the same exact way, if not slightly better. But just so the computer has to process less, we'll pick a cube because you don't have to worry about the round curvatures. Perfect. So the center where we grab will likely be right over here for our character. Okay, and then the rest of that will work fine. So the way we're going to do it is we're just going to remove the mesh render, and we have our main cube object. So it's going to be baseball handle. Okay, and now that we have the baseball handle, put simply, we just have to add the grab interactable, and it adds the rigid body as well. So now we have the grab interactable. Okay, and we have made our basic handle, and we just move this baseball bat right inside. Boom. Now we got it working, where if this moves, rotate it, everything else will move with it. Now, let's test it out. Well, let's test it out after making the ball. So, just like before, how do we make the ball? Well, we made a sphere. Made the sphere a lot smaller. And this one we're going to do, in general, a lot smaller than the rest because it's a baseball. Oh, that's a little too small. That's a good size. And then I'll move it now to close to here. I'll have a few of them that they're next to the ground here. Okay, so on the ball I'm gonna add actually I'll just add the sphere and add the XR grab controller. Okay, so this is grabbable, that's grabbable. We're gonna add some oomph on throwing this one, so we're going to change the throw velocity to about we'll say about 2. Okay, and we'll see how that works. Baseball bat, we could give it about give it a 2. Okay, and over here it has gravity, no mass, so it's very light. And this one, let's see if the rigid body from this ball will react to the baseball right over here. And in case I mess up once, I want to have a few backups. So name this one, name this one ball. Okay, and I'll make a few of them. Okay, and I'll move all of them real quick to be not in the way of the printer. Okay, so this side to me is a lot better. Perfect. We'll test it out. So you can't see the ball because it's in here. If I let go, okay. So we know it's in the center hand because when you shake it, you can see the ball. I don't know where the ball went. So it seems it's going through the floor. So we may have to fix that. Bye, Mo. Well, we're just gonna finish up this baseball. We'll be done with the tutorial. So now we have baseball bats working perfectly fine when we grab the baseball bat. The balls are more the issue and concern here at this moment. So what might be the problem here? Well, one of the things is definitely for sure it's not interacting with the baseball bat itself. Or a great way to test one more time by seeing this. So if I move my head over here, okay, grab one of my arms. Oh, gotta grab the bat first. Wrong arm. See, it doesn't really do anything to the balls. Not interacting. We have to add a physical way in order to hit it. Okay? When I throw it at least the baseball is working perfectly fine when I grab it. You can see that there at the top. Okay? So let's fix that. Just want to show you guys the representation. Okay. And now we will add a physical body to this aspect. So I think if we just add a collider itself, cylinder collider capsule right there. Okay, and then we move the offset for the Y 0.5. Oh, I added the 2D one. Okay. Remove that. Perfect. And then lower the radius about 0.1. Still a little too tall. So we want to decrease this by about 0.3. And then decrease the height to about 0.5. And let's make it this entire part 0.5. Okay, a little bit higher. Actually, the height 6. Okay, we're getting there. Perfect. That's a good enough position for our capsule. Okay, and all of the parts are able to work there. And we'll test it without putting the VR headset on to see if it actually affects anything. All right, see if it affects the balls. Well, I think it'd be best if I actually re-angle myself here. Perfect. Grab this one. Wrong one. Perfect. Now it's working. Let's test it out with making a bunch of balls. Make a bunch of copies and we'll just throw them. As a way to say thank you for coming to this tutorial. So right over here. Yeah, and you guys have now learned how to make your own baseball game, basketball game, and any game really where it includes grabbing and throwing stuff, the very basic things.